Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's been a few weeks that I've taken off. I just needed a bit of a break, but I'm back on board today and can't wait to continue my sub-series that I'm putting together, entitled All That I've Learned from Tony Robbins Over the Years, a sub-series that hopefully will comprise of 365 videos paying tribute and honouring the big man for all the great work that he has done over the past 30 or 40 years. For those who are not aware, back in the mid-90s, 94, 95 or 95, 96, I went to his UPW seminar back then when I was a young up-and-coming executive working in some of the best corporations in the world. And this year I was also fortunate to follow up and go to, I guess, what could be considered his last UPW that he's hosting here in Sydney in Australia. We'll see how things go, but looks as if UPW here in Australia may have run its course, because at the end of the day, Tony Robbins and I are the same age. We're 63, and I guess looking at his grueling schedule, it just would be difficult, if not very, very challenging, to be flying all around the world all the time, hosting these high impact, high energy seminars. Anyway, what I'd like to do today is just to continue along my way, because what I did a little while ago was I went, as I said, to his UPW, and what I did was I took a number of notes. I took 167 pages of notes. I just lapped it up this time round. My youngest daughter Artemis wasn't able to attend. I'd bought 2 tickets, one for my youngest daughter Artemis and one for my eldest Catherine, but you know, in a good way, Artie couldn't make it this time round because she had a young baby to attend to, her baby Poppy, and I took her place. I offered the tickets to their husbands, but they declined, so an opportunity opened up for me to go to my 3rd UPW, and I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it and lapped it up, so much so that, as I said, what I want to do is I want to pay a tribute to the big man and to put together a sub-series within my Jim's 5am Club YouTube channel, where I put together the 365 videos, one a day. I think I'm up to about number 81 or 82, so I'm in my 80s. I'm 20% of the way there, which is pretty impressive, because it's not all that easy just to wake up every day and to talk unedited, unassisted about topics which are pretty challenging and pretty difficult. But I've read enough and I've done enough vlogs over the years, and I've had 30 years or more to reflect on and to think about those key core lessons that I've been able to absorb from the big man Tony Robbins. And what I'll do is I'll do my best attempt to try and take those lessons, to take those morsels, those gems, and pass them on to the next generation, or to anybody who's interested in picking up the baton and running with the baton. So what I'm going to focus on today, if you can see the notes here, is where Anthony Robbins talks about the importance of absolutely stopping tolerating the weaker part of you, or the weaker part of me, or the weaker part of us. So it's a call to action, basically, where the call to action is very, very simple. The call to action is to stop settling, I guess, is the key message. Just don't settle, because life continues to move. Life continues to change. Doesn't matter who you are, where you are, how important, how powerful you are. The world keeps spinning, and life keeps on adjusting, changing, morphing in good ways, in bad ways. So the key message from the big man is that because everything around us is constantly changing, then we need to pressure ourselves, we need to invite ourselves to grow and develop, to continue to grow and develop, to continue to learn, to continue to do things in order to keep what we've already got, and secondly, to try and grow and develop, because what we don't want in our lives is to fall away, is to atrophy, is to face entropy through lack of execution, lack of application, lack of doing. Because what you don't do, according to the big man, is, if you don't use it, you lose it. So what we need to do is we need to keep on pushing ourselves. We need to keep on doing those push-ups, those sit-ups, those mental calisthenics, so that we remain sharp and at our best for all the challenges that life will most certainly throw our way. So when Anthony Robbins asks us to stop tolerating the weaker parts of us, one of the basic questions that we need to ask ourselves first and foremost is, how honest are we with ourselves? How honest are we with our Creator? How often do we sit down and reflect upon our strengths, our weaknesses, the gifts that God has given us, the things that we've taken on, the growth, the training, the education, the lucky things that have come our way as well? How many times do we look at those things with appreciation, with gratitude, and to see that all of these things come our way as a gift for us to grab with our 2 hands, wrap our 10 fingers around, and to hug closely as we can to our body, and to leverage it and make the most of it whilst we can. Just in anticipation, should I say, we've got one ship that has already docked up here at the Overseas Passenger Terminal, and what I can see in the distance is we've got another one heading towards us, and that ship will come under the harbour bridge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position myself a little bit further down so I can capture the whole parade of that ship coming under the bridge. And what we can do is continue to do a walk and talk, and to elaborate on today's topic. As I say, all of the things that I do with my vlogs are unedited, unscripted, and they just come from the heart. And today is no different to any other day. It may take about 10 minutes, I'd say, for that ship to get to where I am. And I have noticed that my vlogs are getting longer and longer with time. When I first started Jim's 5 a.m. club, I would struggle to get to the 10-minute mark. Then I started to get to the 15-minute mark, and now a lot of my vlogs go for half an hour, 40 minutes. It's not intended, it's just that once you get into something, you start to go off on tangents, and it's all part of the fun. So let's talk a little bit more about today's key lesson, which is all about not settling and to stop tolerating our weaker parts. And as I was mentioning before, how honest are we with ourselves? How honest are we with our Creator? That we can sit down and reflect upon the things we've done, the things we've got, the people we are gifted with in our lives, the mistakes that we've made, the successes that we've enjoyed, and to look upon those things and to ask ourselves one very, very important question. And the important question that we tend to ask ourselves is, what more can we do? What can we add to what we already have in order to achieve a better outcome in life, given that for most of us, especially those who are of a Christian sort of bent, what can we do? What more can we do to glorify God, to worship God with all our heart, mind and soul? What more can we do to be God-pleasing in our actions and our outcomes? And what more can we do to serve not only ourselves but also our neighbours through loving them as we love ourselves? And all of these sorts of discussions are really, really important, yet very, very challenging, because, as I mentioned before, they require us to be honest with ourselves and honest with God. So, there are lots of things in our lives that are happening all the time. We are letting down ourselves, we're letting down our partners, our families, and we need to take account and assert a certain level of leverage on those things, and to hopefully use those disappointments to get us to do the things that are more satisfying and more productive in our lives. I'm just watching that ship coming down the harbour. I thought the ship normally goes on the right-hand side of Fort Denison, but this time around, and it looks like it's low tide now as well, but that ship is going to the left of Fort Denison, which is quite interesting. As I say, I've never seen it done like that before, but by the same token, I haven't been watching it from this sort of perspective before. So what I'll do is I'll go down there to the old Pier 1 and just go onto the jetty and watch the ship come under the harbour bridge. As you can see, there's quite a few people here fishing under the bridge. I don't know what they catch, or if they catch anything at all, but I know that a friend of mine, George Lianos, fishes on the other side of Pier 1 on one of those jetties there, and he has been quite successful in catching some decent sized kingfish, I think, which has been quite impressive. Anyway, let's continue our little chat on stop tolerating the weaker parts of you. So as we mentioned before, one of the key messages that I learnt from the big man was that today's 8s eventually become tomorrow's 6s, and it's just natural. It's just natural to see that things change over time. It's called atrophy, it's called entropy, where the things that were strong, the things that were powerful, become weaker over time. And that's just the natural laws of nature. You know, we see it in human beings, we see it in animals, we see it all around us. Rocks become sand, people turn to dust. You know, we're born young, we're born virile, we're born strong, and before you know it, you get old, you get feeble, and we pass away, and then others take our place, and the cycle of life continues on and on forever and a day. So we've got a lifetime to try and get it right. We've got a lifetime to try and fulfill our calling, our duty. So one of the key lessons, of course, is that we need to spend as much time as early as we can in our lives trying to first identify what that calling is, and to take those skills, those gifts that we have, and to make the most of it. So I'll just go out here onto this little landing here and use this as my vantage point. As you can see, there's a reflection of the sun over there, and the sun is just coming up over there in the east, and we've got this ship, this massive passenger liner, coming into Sydney Harbour. And what I'll do is I'll just back off the magnification so you can actually see the harbour bridge, and we'll get that ship coming under the bridge, which is something which is quite spectacular and interesting. And as I say, I've never been at this point before, and today's perspective is going to be unique and special. So as we say, life moves on, things change, and everything, even these boats here, need to be maintained on a weekly basis in order to continue to generate and deliver their performance and their service obligations. And similarly, people are no different. You know, you need to exercise on a regular basis. You need to fuel your body with good food and nutrient-dense foods on a regular basis. You need to fuel your mind with empowering things on a regular basis. You need to hang out with good people on a regular basis, because as Warren Buffett says, and Steve Covey and Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins, they all say the same old thing. We end up becoming the mean average of the half dozen people that we spend most time with. And for that reason, we need to be selective. We need to be discerning, and we need to make good choices, and we're not going to make perfect choices every time, because there's a lot of trial and error that comes with each person's life. And the reason why there's trial and error is because each person lives a different life. No two people, even if they're identical twins, even if they're Siamese twins fused together in the one body, will live the same life. We all get a different experience. We all have a different experience of God. We all have a different experience of reality. And each person's life is a concatenation of all the slithers of reality that they've been able to pick up along the way, through the things that they do in their lives, the things that happen to them in their life. But more importantly, it's all about the meaning that they've placed on those experiences. And you can have two people standing in the same place at the same time that will see the same thing and have a different interpretation and apply a different meaning to it. Some people will apply a positive meaning. Other people may apply a negative meaning. And when you take the sum product of all of those observations and you add them together, what you'll do is you'll get a unique and specific worldview that is created in that person's lifetime. And it's important to understand that whilst a lot of these worldviews are created, many of them are, what's the word I'm looking for? Many of them are inherited from other people. So we need to be careful. We need to understand that a lot of these things happen through our lives, but it's what you hold on to, what you keep, that is going to change or influence your life. You know, different things happen to us, and Tony Robbins says that life doesn't happen to you, life happens for you, and each person is invited to live the best possible life they can. And in order to live the best possible life, we need to express and to use the power of gratitude, and to say to yourself, well, where I am right here, right now, I'm invited to indulge in the gifts that God has provided me at this moment, and to take the positives, to take the beauty, to take good meaning, and to know that whatever happens at this point in time, it's for my benefit, if I choose it to be for my benefit, rather than to look at things in a negative and a destructive way. So the ship that's coming under the harbour bridge now is called the Pacific Adventure. So what it'll do is it'll go and dock over there at Balmain. So it's a very, very busy time of year, as you can understand. A couple of years ago, when we have COVID, the whole cruise ship industry was damaged almost beyond repair. But thank God we've moved on, and it's 2023. Christmas time is just round the corner, and the passenger ship industry is thriving. We've had 2 ships come in today. One, as I said before, has docked up at the overseas passenger terminal, and this ship here is now coming under the harbour bridge and going to Balmain. How beautiful is this? I'll just come in a little bit closer. There we have it, the ship coming under the harbour bridge, looking spectacular. Even though it's a big ship, it doesn't look all that big compared to this beautiful monument that we have, the harbour bridge. So there you go, a very, very powerful lesson, a beautiful day to express it and to see it and to anchor it and attach it to this beautiful visual that's happening. Because what I do with my YouTube channel is I try and use the beauty of this city that I live in, or wherever I am in the world, and to overlay it with a message of empowerment, so that we have something which is visually interesting and hopefully something that is comforting and nurturing from a educational perspective. Because at the end of the day, learning is just a simple art of attaching the unknown to the known, and what we know we can attach things to, and we can learn and attach more things to it. So the big lesson from the big man Tony Robbins is to embrace learning and to be a life learner, to be able to take all of these lessons, all of these unique lessons that we have, and to add to them day by day, week by week, and to build our skills and knowledge base. Because the more we learn, the more we're capable of learning. The more we do, the more we're capable of doing. The more we know, the more we're capable of knowing. So once again, the big call for each and every one of us is to push ourselves every single day, to not settle, and most importantly, to not settle for things that are not going to make us stronger, more powerful, and more able to achieve and to express our calling in life. So there you have it, another beautiful morning, another glorious start to the work week. We're winding down, but a few more days of work, and then we can all head off, go on holidays, spend some time with our families, and have an opportunity to look back over the year. Just in case people aren't aware, I've mentioned this on one of my other vlogs, but years ago I was speaking to my mother about traditions, Christmas traditions that we've held near and dear to our hearts in our family. And she told me that the turkey tradition, the eating of turkey on Christmas, is something that has been in our family for many, many years, many generations, potentially. And she told me the reason for it, which was quite interesting. And what I'll do is I'll just try and pass it on, because I know that a lot of families, a lot of cultures have turkey for Christmas, and many people probably don't even ask the question why. But as I say, my mother told me why, and I was able to substantiate it by talking to my late uncle George in Greece, George Kalpaxis. He was my grandfather, my late grandfather's brother, and he said that, and my mother confirmed this as well, so it's come from two different sources. She said that the reason why Greek Orthodox have turkey for Christmas is that there are a number of culinary traditions that are embraced for the Greek Orthodox, and it all starts at Easter, where we have lamb for Easter, and that lamb needs to be whole with a head with no broken bones, and that carries on from the Jewish traditions of having lamb, and of course that Jesus was the Paschal lamb. And at Christmas, the reason why we have turkey is because when a turkey eats, I don't know if you've seen a turkey, but I've seen a bush turkey just recently, and I've videoed it and I talked about it. But for those who have had chickens and turkeys in their families, what you'll notice is when a turkey eats, or when they're out in the garden or in the bush searching for food, what they do is they rake their feet backwards. They rake and scrape the ground backwards. So they go from front to back, and then they just move backwards and just peck at the ground where they've raked up to pick up the morsels that they've scraped out of the soil. So it's that backward movement is that it's given the turkey the honour of being the Christmas dish, because Christmas is a time where we as humans look back. We look back over the year. We look back to the time of Jesus' birth. We look back to the time of the incarnation, of where God became man and dwelt with us to be our role model, to be our comforter, and to spread the word and to initiate the New Testament. So it's a time of year where we can sit down with family around a table and look back over the past year and to reflect on our lives and to be grateful and to express gratitude and to talk about all the things that have been good in our lives, which leads us to the next question. What do we do at New Year? So the Greeks have, or the tradition in my family I should say, is that Easter we have lamb, Christmas we have turkey, and at New Year we have pork. And why would we have pork at Christmas, you may ask? And the simple reason for that is that when pigs eat, what they do is they push forward. They nuzzle the soil and push it up, and they eat the roots or whatever they're able to get out of the ground. But it's a forward movement. So New Year's Day is a day where we need to push forward, we need to look forward. And it's a time of year where you can sit down with your family and to talk about your goals, talk about what your plans are for the next year, what you're going to do, how you're going to do the things, and what you're going to do to please God and to serve your neighbour and to express your calling. So it's an opportunity to look forward, and hence pork is a meat, is a meal, is an animal that symbolises that forward progression. So that's something that we've just added. As I say, I don't plan what I'm going to say. We just talk about it and it just evolves. So wishing everybody all the very best on this beautiful day. And I look forward to coming to you from another place with another message of empowerment, where we can showcase the beauty of this place that we live in, and also overlay it with messages of empowerment, with lessons, and just have a walk and talk and be brothers, to be partners in each other's growth and development. Wishing you all the best. Hopefully everything will go well today and this week, and we can all have a productive and loving Christmas. Take care, Yassas, and bye for now.